CDL in Indiana? Don't get tripped up. Like, subscribe, and let's dive in.
Question 1. An engine retarder valve should always be used during icy or wet conditions to assist with braking. True or false? False. Engine retarders can cause drive wheel lockup on slippery surfaces, increasing the chance of a skid rather than helping to stop safely. Question 2. When inspecting air brakes, the spring brakes should automatically activate when air pressure drops below 20 to 45 psi. True or false? True. This is a critical safety feature. The spring brakes will engage automatically within this range if air pressure is lost to prevent uncontrolled movement. Question 3. In the basic control skills test, you are allowed to exit your vehicle to check your position only once per exercise. True or false? False. You may exit more than once in most exercises, but each time you do, it counts as an encroachment penalty and must be done safely with the vehicle secured. Question 4. A placarded vehicle transporting hazardous materials must stop at all railroad crossings, regardless of signal status. True or false? True. Federal regulations require placarded vehicles to stop within 15 to 50 feet of a railroad crossing and proceed only when safe. Question 5. The fifth wheel locking lever must be in the closed position before the kingpin is connected. True or false? False. The locking lever should be open to allow the kingpin to slide into the jaws of the fifth wheel during coupling. It locks automatically after a proper connection. Question 6. The emergency air line controls the service brakes on a trailer during normal operation. True or false? False. The service air line controls the trailer's brakes during normal braking. The emergency line supplies air to the tanks and controls emergency brakes. Question 7. When loading cargo, the center of gravity should be as high as possible to improve stability. True or false? False. Cargo should be kept as low as possible to reduce the risk of rollover, especially in curves and turns. Question 8. Hydraulic brakes are allowed on all CDL classified vehicles in Indiana, including combination units. True or false? False. Most combination vehicles and heavier commercial vehicles use air brakes due to their power and fail-safe features. Hydraulic brakes are only found in lighter vehicles. Question 9. A driver is responsible for inspecting their cargo and securing devices within the first 50 miles of a trip. True or false? True. Federal regulations require a cargo check within the first 50 miles and at specific intervals after that, such as every 150 miles or 3 hours. Question 10. The CDL pre-trip inspection test requires you to identify and describe all defects, not just safety-related ones. True or false? False. The focus is on safety-related defects that could affect vehicle operation or public safety. Cosmetic or minor issues do not need to be addressed during the test. Question 11. During a straight-line backing maneuver, Using mirrors is required to monitor your vehicle's position and prevent accidents. True or false? True. Mirrors are essential for safety and precision during backing, and their proper use is part of the test criteria. Question 12. When coupling a trailer, the trailer's air lines must be connected before confirming the fifth wheel lock. True or false? False. The fifth wheel should be locked and the connection verified before hooking up the air and electrical lines to avoid unintentional movement. Question 13. If a commercial vehicle's low air pressure warning signal does not activate before 55 psi, it is considered defective. True or false? True. FMCSA regulations require the warning signal to activate no later than 55 psi in air brake systems. Question 14. All hazardous materials must be loaded away from heat sources and the driver's compartment. True or false? True. Hazmat loading rules require safe separation from heat, ignition sources, and the cab to reduce risk. Question 15. The parking brake on a combination vehicle should be tested by applying the brake and pulling against it in a low gear. True or false? True. This verifies that the parking brake will hold the vehicle when applied. Question 16. Using the trailer hand valve while driving is recommended for slowing down gradually. True or false? False. This can cause a trailer skid. The hand valve is for testing brakes only. Question 17. In a CDL road test, stopping beyond a stop line is acceptable if you correct it immediately. True or false? False. Crossing a stop line is a scoring error and cannot be corrected once committed. Question 18. When driving at night, dim your headlights when within 500 feet of an oncoming vehicle. True or false? True. This is a legal requirement to prevent blinding other drivers. Question 19. A driver is allowed to use personal judgment in determining whether to bypass a way station. True or false? False. All commercial drivers must stop at way stations unless explicitly instructed otherwise by signage or law enforcement. Question 20. It's acceptable to use wheel chocks in place of spring brakes when parking on a downgrade. True or false? False. Spring brakes must be used. Chocks are a secondary safety measure, not a substitute. Question 21. You must inspect cargo securement devices within the first 50 miles and at intervals thereafter. True or false? True. Federal regulations mandate rechecking cargo securement after 50 miles and every 3 hours, or 150 miles. Question 22. Turning the steering wheel to the right while backing with a trailer causes the trailer to move to the left. True or false? True. This is a key skill in backing maneuvers. The trailer moves opposite of the steering input. Question 23. A broken leaf spring is not considered a serious defect unless the vehicle is fully loaded. True or false? False. A broken spring can compromise suspension integrity and is considered an out-of-service condition regardless of load. Question 24. Tires must have matching sizes on each axle to avoid uneven braking and stability issues. True or false? True. Mismatched tire sizes can cause handling and braking issues, especially on steer and drive axles. Question 25. A driver with a tanker endorsement may haul gaseous materials only in containers over 2,000 gallons. True or false? False. The endorsement applies to tanks with an individual capacity over 119 gallons and a total over 1,000 gallons, liquid or gas. Question 26. Retarders help control vehicle speed on downgrades and reduce brake wear. True or false? True. Engine retarders supplement the braking system and are especially useful on long declines. Question 27. You must always stop at an active railroad crossing, even if the gate is raised and no train is visible. True or false? False. A stop is only required if the law or signage mandates it or if you're hauling certain hazardous materials. Question 28. Drivers of combination vehicles must ensure the trailer kingpin is not bent or cracked before coupling. True or false? True. A damaged kingpin can cause coupling failure and must be inspected during the pre-trip. Question 29. The CDL pre-trip test requires checking for exhaust system leaks, especially near the cab. True or false? True. Leaks can let carbon monoxide into the cab and must be identified during the inspection. Question 30. When approaching a low underpass, drivers may rely on posted clearance signs regardless of load height. True or false? False. Drivers are responsible for knowing their vehicle's actual height and verifying clearance visually when in doubt. Question 31. It's acceptable to skip the vehicle inspection test if you pass the driving portion with a high score. True or false? False. The vehicle inspection is a required segment of the CDL skills test and must be passed independently. Question 32. The only safe way to test service brakes is while driving slowly and applying firm pressure. True or false? True. This allows you to feel for pulling, grabbing, or delayed engagement under controlled conditions. Question 33. Placards are required for hazardous materials shipments only if the gross weight exceeds 1,000 pounds. True or false? False. Some hazardous materials require placarding regardless of weight, depending on the type of material. Question 34. You must always check for low-hanging wires and obstructions when backing into a dock. True or false? True. Overhead hazards are often overlooked but can damage equipment or injure others. Question 35. Brake drums should not have any cracks, regardless of length or location. True or false? False. Hairline cracks are acceptable if they don't extend to the edge of the drum. Cracks across the full face or edge are out-of-service defects. Question 36. A school bus driver must activate the amber warning lights at least 100 feet before stopping. True or false? True. This warns traffic and prepares them to stop before the bus does. Question 37. If your CDL is disqualified in another state, you may still drive under your Indiana license until it's revoked. True or false? False. CDL disqualification in any state results in nationwide disqualification under federal law. Question 38. Vehicles carrying Division 1.1 explosives must have stopped to check procedures every 100 miles. True or false? True. These checks ensure security and condition of the load en route. Question 39. You may use any CMV, regardless of class, for your CDL skills test as long as it has wheels and brakes. True or false? False. You must use a representative vehicle for the class and type of license you are applying for. Question 40. Proper mirror adjustment should allow you to see the sides of your trailer and a small portion of the lanes beside you. True or false? True. This setup reduces blind spots and improves safety when turning or changing lanes. Question 41. The air compressor governor controls when the air compressor pumps air into the system. True or false? True. The governor determines the cut-in and cut-out pressure levels, maintaining system pressure automatically. Question 42. A bus driver may use the student loading lights while transporting non-student passengers. True or false? False. Warning lights are for student loading and unloading only. Misuse may lead to penalties. Question 43. Combination vehicles are more likely to roll over than single vehicles when making a sudden lane change. True or false? True. The trailer's high center of gravity and articulation increase the risk of rollover in sharp maneuvers. Question 44. A vehicle with ABS will always stop in a shorter distance than one without ABS. True or false? False. ABS helps maintain control, but does not always reduce stopping distance on all surfaces. Question 45. A CDL driver transporting cargo must verify the weight distribution to ensure compliance with axle weight limits. True or false? True. Improper axle loading can result in fines, poor handling, or equipment failure. Question 46. If a fire starts in your engine compartment, opening the hood is the best way to fight the fire. True or false? False. Opening the hood feeds oxygen to the fire. It's safer to aim the extinguisher through gaps without opening it fully. Question 47. It is acceptable to use shipping papers from a previous load of hazardous material if they describe the same substance. True or false? False. Shipping papers must be current and match the specific shipment and transport. Question 48. A safe driver looks 12 to 15 seconds ahead, which is about a quarter mile at highway speeds. True or false? True. Scanning this far ahead allows early hazard detection and smoother reactions. Question 49. Overhead clearance is consistent and doesn't need to be checked on roads that have posted heights. True or false? False. Posted clearances can change due to road repaving, snow, or load shifting. Question 50. During pre-trip, checking for cracked brake linings is required as part of the brake inspection. True or false? True. Brake linings must not be dangerously worn or cracked, as this impacts braking performance.
You made it through! Nicely done. Keep the momentum with the next video or download your cheat sheet now.